Good morning and welcome to live coverage from Beijing of the PGL Asia Minor Championships 2017. We are in day 3 right now after 2 days of group action amongst 8 of the very best teams from the Asian region. It is time to head into our semi-finals of the upper bracket, but before we get there, before we introduce you to our guest this morning, let's have a quick recap on where we are right now. Day 1 saw Group A's matches play through. We'll show you the bracket and show you exactly how that one panned out. And as you can see, Flash Gaming were the surprise to some team that dominated in Group A with wins over Signature Gaming and more impressively perhaps over Renegades, who came into this as one of the favourites, previously qualified from the last 2 Asia Minors. They did come through themselves to the semi-finals after a tricky match against Thailand's Signature Gaming in the lower bracket. That's Group A. And in Group B, it was a similar story for the Australians and for the Chinese teams. TyLoo coming through with 16-4 wins in both of their matches to qualify in first place as the main seed. Immunity then also coming through in the bottom half of the bracket, perhaps though after a brilliant display against the Mongols, more impressively than their other Australian team, Renegades, in the previous group. So that's how the 2 groups played out. The playoffs then have just 4 teams remaining from the 8 that originally qualified, and 2 of these will go through to the offline finals qualifiers. That's what they're looking for right now, and we'll kick things off with TyLoo versus Renegades in a best of 3, Flash Gaming versus Immunity also in a best of 3, and we'll have the upper bracket final today. So we'll find out at least one team that will be going to the offline finals. A reminder for you of the format as well. Some of these teams have qualified through to the Asia Minor themselves. This is a qualifier itself for the offline finals, which is a qualifier for the major at the end of July. That's the long road ahead. Still plenty of CS to come from all of these teams, especially today. But there is one question on our mind. Who is going to win? And luckily for me, we've got men alongside me who know who's going to win. And it's Natu and Blair. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Not entirely sure about that intro, but don't have a crystal ball. Magic 8 Ball.
You love that advert.
I do.
You know who's going to win.
I wish I did. I'd be a rich man. I'd paid my mortgage by now.
So that's the question today. So who's going to win today?
The Chinese.
Two Chinese teams, 2 Australian teams. Australia, New Zealand. I'm always corrected by that by the fans. They always say, "Can you please just include New Zealand, please? There are players from there as well." So we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think at least coming into this day, definitely the Chinese sides are the favorites. They've been more consistent. They've been the ones that've been playing better Counter-Strike overall, individually speaking, and from a tactical point of view. So I think especially Renegades has a point to prove here because they looked a little shaky.
It did. Well, I mean, Blair, if you compare the 2 Australian New Zealand teams at the bottom of the brackets in both groups, Immunity had a much more impressive run against a potentially much harder opponent.
Absolutely. Renegades really, dropping the map in Signature, sure, it's a mirage. But then again, it's Signature. Even though they qualified, they are definitely one of the bigger underdogs there. And Renegades, dropping a map didn't look that impressive. And even on Overpass, we didn't see the end of the game because it got played offline or whatnot. But still, dropping 10 rounds or whatnot to Signature, not that impressive. And then you have Immunity just completely decimating the Mongols, who were looking pretty dangerous, by the way, the Mongols. They were looking much better than Signature, for example. And coming into the playoffs here, I would say Immunity looked like the much more stronger team than Renegades. Renegades still, it could be because they just changed their in-game leaders as well in between. I think it's Nifty calling now instead of Nexa, so they're really looking shaky. I think they have a point to prove. They need to really pull up the socks, so to speak.
If there's a downside in this semi-final of the upper bracket, though, it's the fact that Immunity play potentially the better strategical team in Flash.
True, but then Flash doesn't have Bentet, so.
And I think the fact that we saw Flash already really play well as an aggressive side in Renegades, and Immunity also were super aggressive. Yeah. So that's something for the Australians and New Zealand guys to be thinking about going into that game.
Yeah, so the question still remains, who's going to win?
China number 1.
China number 1?
Yeah.
Both teams?
Yep.
You think both will go through from the semi-final today?
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2-0, 2-0s.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strong.
Yeah.
Okay, well, where's the belief, boys? Come on.
Maybe
no. I think still got to remember. The map pool wise, I think these teams are very equal. TyLoo and Renegades, in my opinion, the middle ground of their map pool is pretty much same. They like the same maps. There's the potential curveball of maybe Overpass from TyLoo that they could have, but other than that, it's the cobblestones, the caches. They like to play both teams. The Mirage as well. And so, I mean, that's something that I think could potentially take it into a 3-mapper. But again, it depends on what kind of Renegades is going to show up, as well as TyLoo. You know, you can't forget that in the past, TyLoo has really shown two faces, even though we're speaking of two different lineups. But still, I think it's some kind of a cultural thing for the Chinese teams. If you look at the history as well, you know, one day they're playing awesome, and the next day, you know, you don't even recognize the team anymore.
Yeah,
so
that's very true.
Gotta remember that.
But one thing I noticed, at least if you talk about the two Chinese teams, the reason Flash looks so different is they're not playing like most of the other Chinese teams or Asian teams we've seen in the past. Even though TyLoo and Flash had very one-sided affairs, like in both the games they played in the last couple of days. If you look at the style of TyLoo, they made small mistakes. Against Signature, for example, you know, it could have been a 16-0 or 16-1. They you know, made some small little mistakes over there, giving up a few rounds. Flash, on the other hand, I think played some very good, pristine Counter-Strike. Not many errors there. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew what Renegades were up to as well. Completely outplayed. And I really don't think I saw any, you know, the small little silly little mistakes. There was much more discipline, I'd say, coming out from Flash Gaming. So hopefully, you know, I'm thinking Flash is going to, you know, kind of buck the trend and trying to be a little bit more of a different Asian team.
All right, we're going to move into our first match. As you can see, the players are entering the main stage right now. TyLoo have been introduced to the crowds there. And we're going to start with TyLoo and take a look at their lineup in a moment and talk about them as a team. Blair, it's an interesting experiment, this, for them, because it is an experiment right now. They've changed things up. They've brought a player in from a different country, very unusual for China, especially in CS teams in the past. They've not done that before. And yet they've brought in arguably a player who is the best player in Asia right now.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I mean, think about it. Like, the thing we spoke about yesterday was also the fact that the talent pool is kind of small in China, and all the best players are either already in TyLoo or in Flash Gaming or in VG Gaming. That's about it. That's like, what, 15, 16 players who are, you know, at that level in China. So they had to look outside. I think it was somebody who was instrumental in getting Bentet on board. He was like, he saw Bentet play. It's like, I really want this guy on board. And they spoke to the manager, I think, and manager's like, yeah, but he's from Indonesia, the language barrier. Somebody's like, it's okay, it's something new. But this guy's got so much talent. He is the best, probably the best player in Asia. So, you know, why not give it a shot? And TyLoo, the organization, were like, okay, if you guys really want him, let's go for it. And it's really worked out for them.
And they've had to change their communication styles as well.
Yeah,
they're now calling numbers for positions and places.
Numbers, Chinese, and English thrown in together. That's insane.
Yeah.
And that could be the one factor that holds them back a little bit. Because at the heat of the moment, and if Renegades really turn up today, you know, that small little... you got to think about it now. These guys are not used to calling in English. And, you know, Bender's not used to Chinese, for example. So in between, like, you know, in the heat of the moment, they just might... The comms just might drop a little bit, and that could be perhaps the only worrying factor if you're a TyLoo fan. All
right, Renegades, as you can see on the screen right now, discussing last-minute preparations before they head into their best of three. They've got a tough task ahead of them, Natu. If they're going to succeed here, where is it going to come from? Is it going to come from a specific player, a style of play, a step up? What is it going to take?
First of all, I would just touch, like, it feels weird that China, a country with 1.5 billion people, would have a small talent pool. Feels kind of weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That does a little bit, yeah.
It's kind of odd.
They're still playing Counter-Strike online. That's what we need to get them away from. Stop playing that game. Come and play this one.
But yeah, I mean, Renegades, they try to play a very, very aggressive style against Flash, and it definitely didn't really pan out for them. I mean, it's all about, like, finding the right balance, and in terms of playing, obviously they played a game of Cobblestone against Flash, and the City side can easily steer in the wrong direction here. But I mean, Nuke, then again, they seemed like a very complete team. They had a really, really wide variety of strategies they were pulling off on that map. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get to play it, but it showcases that they have depth in the way they can play. They have fast strats. They have a lot of slow, methodical ways to play. Individually, they can play pretty well. So, I mean, I just want to see them have a sound tactical approach to the game. They need to be smarter than their opponents because the opposition right now is on par individually. But when it comes to team play, I think that's where they can outplay their opponents.
And in terms of big games, who are you looking for to step up? I mean, Azza and JKS would be the two that we would normally associate with.
Yeah.
If they're going to have a good game, it's going to come from those two fundamentally, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, they've always been the bread and butter of this team, and they need to be the two riflers to be nailing down their opposition. It's very simple.
What have you made of the two newer guys, Blair? They've had flashes of brilliance in places, haven't they? But they haven't seen anything consistent yet.
True, and if you look at, like, Nifty, for example, I've seen some of his games in the past. He's a pretty solid operator. He's a very good role player. He fits in perfectly well. But the fact is they got Nexa in to be the in-game leader, right? That was the main reason they got
I think
him
that
from
was the plan originally.
That was the
wasn't
plan
it?
originally, and I'm not saying like he's a bad fragger or anything, but when they mentioned, I think it was the interview on HLTV recently where they said that Nifty's going to be calling now. I'm like, okay, then what's really the point of having Nexa? I'm not saying he's like a bad player. In that case, they might have like taken a little bit more time, probably got another Australian maybe because of comms, and I don't think Nexa is a natural. I mean. English is his first language, so when it comes to comms as well, they mentioned, I think it was TyLoo mentioned in his interview that, since Nifty is American, he's able to, the comms, he's able to make calls a little faster as well, I think. So I feel Nexa's role is kind of like a little muddled right now. What's he really doing?
Do you think it's just lack of choices?
No, I mean they live in the U.S., right? So there's individuals. There's
You would have thought, wouldn't you?
individual skill always being in the U.S.
But I'm talking just in terms of availability, lack of contracts in between majors and what have you.
Yeah, that's always an issue, isn't it? But I would still give Nexa a chance here because they've played such a little time still together as a team, and you never we don't know since we're not a part of the team. How does he affect the dynamics of the team? If he's working as a wingman for Nifty, as I've been alluding to previously, it's something that is an important part of a team. Having someone perhaps have the in-game leading roles kind of split up between two people, one that makes the decision initially in the round and one that does it in middle of the round. We don't even know how does it work for them. So it could be that they've shared this kind of duties somehow in this team.
You mentioned maps a little earlier on. There should be a similar map pool. Let's take a look at the map vetoes now and figure out whether we get what we think. And from that, you would imagine that's pretty what we thought earlier on. Mirage and Cash from each of them, and we'll end up on Overpass if we need it for a third.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much TyLoo known for Mirage, obviously. That's where...
And Nuke's their permaban
And Nuke's their permaban, so they're going to get rid of that every time.
And Inferno for Renegades is a permaban.
Because they haven't played it very much.
And Cash, as they like to say.
They do like
Down
Cash.
under.
Yeah.
So
I've been trying to get them to swap, but they won't listen.
It's also a very tactical map on both sides. Judging from what we saw on Nuke from Renegades, I'm expecting a lot from them. They need to have a lot of varieties in their strategies because there's a lot of things you can do. Mid control, nice execute towards A bomb side, B bomb sides, and then going down to Overpass is the third.
I sort of feel that might favour TyLoo a little bit.
I mean, map-wise, I'm not really sure. I mean, we haven't seen that much from either, really, to be honest, at the tournament, to be able to judge, map pool-wise. It's just if you look at the numbers roughly, then I think it's pretty even up, actually.
I mean, they're always strong on Mirage. We know that about TyLoo.
Mirage, Cash. I think Cash might actually go the way of Renegades, but I think Overpass will actually favor Renegades a bit.
You do?
Yeah,
okay.
because I've looked at TyLoo's history on Overpass, and they've lost to teams they shouldn't be losing to. And most of the wins have come on, online wins against some really, really bad teams, right? And they've actually struggled against teams of their caliber, perhaps a little, worse than them. And I think this actually, just looking at that final map, I think this could very well actually go the way of Renegades if they manage to, pull off the win on Cash.
What's a good start for them, Natu, on Mirage?
For Renegades?
Not assuming they're not going to win it, that's for sure.
Probably not. I mean, that's the hard part because we've seen in the past, at least, TyLoo has just found different ways of playing it, and they seem to be understanding when to be aggressive, when do we need to be passive, how do we react to different kind of situations. I mean, you can't really go into thinking if you're Renegades. I mean, you approach to it as you would against anyone. You would just
you're going out there to win, aren't you?
Yeah, well, obviously, any time of the day you are, and they're not unbeatable on it, obviously. Sure. So I'm sure they've studied a lot on what TyLoo likes to do, and just be prepared for any shenanigans that they might be throwing at.
We've also mentioned, Blair, that they start slow. Renegades not only start slow in the mornings, but also start tournaments slow, and this one's been no different, but they've done it before. So is that going to be in the back of their mind? Are they going to be thinking, well, hold on, we've had slow starts to tournaments before. We did it at the last Asia Minor. We still managed to make the final. Yeah. Yes, we lost to TyLoo, but we qualified. That is the ultimate goal here, is to make one of the top two spots. Absolutely. Have they still got that in the back of their mind? Are they still thinking about previous tournaments, or is the team composition changed so much now with those new two extras that it probably doesn't matter?
I don't know, because ours, JKS and Steeler are still from previous lineups. Yep. And let's be honest, the minors have kind of been good and bad to Renegades. They keep losing. They've lost the finals of the last 3 minors to the Mongols first, and then to TyLoo back there. So this matchup against TyLoo, it's gonna be a grudge match. And knowing the Australians, knowing how they usually approach the games, at least based on interviews and whatnot, they be looking for the win here. And I don't think they should be able to shake things off. And we've seen them in the past as well, like you just mentioned right now. We've seen them, lose the first map, start really slow, but they have the drive to come back as well against much better teams than TyLoo. So yeah, although I was like all full, China #1, initially looking the map pick and the final map, I wouldn't be surprised if this does go the way of Renegades as well, 2-1. But
Really?
I would still
Natu.
stick with TyLoo.
Natu? we have a flip-flopper.
Yeah, apparently we do.
Flip-flopper.
It's very hard. I mean, this is a really hard one to predict as well. I mean, still, I feel like TyLoo has seemed the stronger of the two so far. The map pool, the maps are so even, regardless. Looking at just really on raw numbers, so I'm still thinking TyLoo's going to win it, but I think it'll take all three. Mirage is definitely going to win at TyLoo, and I do think, I mean, TyLoo has a chance. Crack at Cash as well. I mean, they looked, obviously their opposition wasn't, that great in the first game on Cash, but still they showed, they can hang in that map. So again, it's going to be a matter of, especially on Cash, to be able to withstand the aggression that Renegades and the mobility that I'm expecting them to be having on that map. So still, I'm going to go for TyLoo though, but I think it's going 3.
Just one quick question before we bring in the commentary team. I'm fascinated by the fact that this could make some history here. How big a history is this if 2 Chinese teams make it through, or amazingly 2 Australian teams make it through?
Well, if it's 2 Australian teams, it's basically replicating the first Asian qualifier where we had Immunity and Renegades, all the different lineups back then, make it to the to the major qualifiers. But if 2 Chinese teams make it,
that's a first.
That's a first, and it would be a pretty big fall for Australian CS, to be very honest, because they were dominant initially. Last year was about Chinese TyLoo or maybe the Mongols as well, and Renegades. And now if Renegades and Immunity don't make it through, it's going to be huge, especially for Chinese and Asian Counter-Strike in general, and pretty bad for our friends down under.
Yeah, so perhaps more dangerous for the Australians to not make it than it is better for the Chinese to make it.
Yeah, I would say so. And it's kind of weird as well, because the Australian teams, like the second Australian teams, like Immunity Chiefs, they're really playing very good Counter-Strike right now.
Yeah, it seems like the gaps have narrowed as well
a lot
for the top sort of 4 or 5 teams in Australia and New Zealand. So very interesting. Let's bring our commentary team in this morning and say good morning to the pair of them. How are you doing, boys?
I'm disappointed. What in the world is Blad doing over there? Grow some stones, mate. Like, what are you doing?
Right?
Everybody's talking in the green room all this trash about how TyLoo's going to 2-0, and then Blad just like backpedals. It's a 2-0 for TyLoo. Grow some stones. Have some confidence. Blad, I'm disappointed in you, mate.
I'm with you. Thanks for calling him out.
Where did this dust come from?
I have no idea.
It's just because we were all talking in the green room. Yeah, it's 2-0 TyLoo. Yeah. Then Blad's like, let me get on the fence.
I didn't see the map picks.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, but this guy's bragging on Twitter about how he got perfect predictions for Group B, even though he made no bold predictions at all. They're all very straightforward. And then he's going to dance the fence on this.
Listen, Dust. It's only
come on, Natu.
There's only one time that predictions matter, and that's when Thorn is right.
Good point.
Good point. And on that point, we'll hand it over to you. Good luck, gents. Have great fun in Game 1.
Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome to the 3rd day of a fantastic tournament so far. Asia Minors PGL 2017 has been an incredible journey, one that has seen some unexpected results, but one that's also been quite plain and simple, so to speak, so far. And now today's predictions here. TyLoo set to win. Well, not according to everyone there on the analyst desk.
I'm going 2-0 TyLoo. I'm going to go out there on the limb. I'll put my neck out there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just really like the way TyLoo's been playing throughout this tournament. They've looked a lot better than Renegades. And, yeah, that could just be like immediacy bias, like the most recent thing I've seen. Sure, I'll definitely be willing to go with that. But we're all Mirage right now. This is a map that TyLoo has played 22 times with this 5. They've won it 19 out of 22. Granted, different region they're playing in.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Renegades, they have only played it maybe 9 or 10 times, and they're got a pretty good record in the NA scene. Don't get me wrong.
Hang on a second. Is it 9 or 10 times when they could successfully end the match, or
what's that?
Without technical difficulties?
Yeah. But no, in the online region in NA, they've played Mirage actually pretty well.
Yeah.
Offline though, they've yet to win it. Obviously, a lot of that has actually been very recently, right? Between IM City and this event, they've played Mirage a couple of times, and they've lost it both times. One of which, of course, was actually the signature. So that was like a real big upset loss.
That was unexpected.
Meanwhile, TyLoo has never really had issues playing it offline. They've won it the 3 times they've played it in LAN play in the Asian scene. So I think that Mirage definitely weighs heavily in favor of TyLoo. So they should definitely get the 1-0 start, especially if the form of the players that we've seen throughout this tournament kind of remains, which is that Bentet has been so on point. The rest of TyLoo has not lagged too far behind. And meanwhile, in Renegades, they've looked flat in a couple of occasions.
Yep, that's a good point indeed to make so far. And ladies and gents, we're about to kick things off. The gong is about to go down. Get yourselves hyped because we're going to have one heck of a show. Renegades versus TyLoo starts here and now. The first map is going to be Mirage. Of course, now TyLoo might just win this one. Might just on all accounts.
They better.
Now, Renegades might be better off coming back on cash. Let's see what happens in the meantime. It's going to be a fast push towards the B side there. Not a chance spent there by TyLoo. They're fast and heavy, but
all right.
Complete wipe
well
down.
Then. Well,
Renegades, and there you go.
All right.
That's where the game goes.
Caster's curse, big
there
time.
There you go. There you go. That's what I was about to point out. I don't know how the analysts feel right now.
Oh, they're probably laughing their asses off. And I'm sure they're going to have a great time on the desk if Renegades wins this map. Sure. Yeah. It's just a pistol round, though. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Good shutdown, though, from Renegades. I mean, they absolutely destroyed that apartments push, so props to them on that, and no issue dealing with that. And, I mean, what you just saw there from TyLoo is something they even like to do on gun rounds. They're a very fast-paced team. They love to do these 5-man pushes or these 1-4 splits. They love to get in your face, be explosive, and they haven't strayed away from that. What's that?
Get in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about Euron Bleh, of course. Now, good start for Renegades, though. They dink down, well, not too bad, one of the players on TyLoo, but it's still not a bad chance for them to make some sort of a workout here with what they got in hand. And what they've got is 2 Tech 9s, 2 Ds, and a CZ, of course. They will be trying to focus all their attention towards the A side there, making a bit of noise towards B, but then again, the Mode does peek in and finds himself a nice little Frank. JKS returns fire, though. HZ does find a good shot with the Tech 9, and now the A side has been almost opened up, but there's going to be some return fire there. Aza, good shot from him, and it's going to be somebody in HZ that died down. 2v3 situation here, and it does not look very good for TyLoo.
No, not at all.
Even though they do have access to the A side.
They do have the bomb on the A side, but this other player, he has to be able to get in that flank fast.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have the time to wait around. Bentet holding on for dear life for his teammate to make his way around. It's going to be Didi. He has got to make a play. If the CTs find out Bentet soon, this could get real dangerous. He has to be patient as well. He can't go for the first kill he sees. It looks like Renegades are even aware of it. You see Nexa just waiting for this.
Hey.
That's going to shut it down.
And there you go. 1v2 situation. Bentet is going to be the last one staying alive here. Trying his best, at least probably to get a bomb plant here. No, he actually has a different plan in mind. First, going to peek out through CT spawn, and it makes you wonder, is he going to head off to the B site? It looks like he's kind of making his way there, trying to launch out with the UMP, but it's a duel. Nonetheless, there Nexa swaps out for the D, 4 HP on Bentet, and now he's going to be surrounded. Not too long for this world. Nifty takes him down. 2-0 for Renegades.
Yeah, it looked decent for TyLoo at the beginning. They got that opening Deagle pick, and they got a good trade, actually, into the A-bomb site right afterwards. They started to break through. I mean, this is the catalyst for it all. It's this one tap here from Captain Mo. He gets traded, but then there's a trade right back. And so TyLoo are looking great, but Nifty in CT spawn, I think it was also Aza rotating off a catwalk, able to kind of bring it back into Renegade's side of the court. And it really just came down to then what could DD do on that flank from B. Unfortunately, nothing. And you could see Bentet, you know, he's in a 1v3. He knew that if he just went for the plant straight away, he'd probably just get swarmed. So he was trying to get that one kill, trying to ensure he could get the safer plant. Didn't work out, and now obviously TyLoo on a full save. This should be a mop-up for Renegades.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be Azer that will push in a bit aggressively. Delpan has one T-sided member there. Ooh, he's got 20 HP. Somebody just barely makes it out alive. Once again, as Dustin pointed out, this should be a nice little cleanup, but still, Renegades took damage themselves. Nifty on 16 right now. He's going to have to go on the backlines there while his teammates peeking a bit more aggressive. Here comes the push-through connector, though. JK has got a good opener in there, and he's going to be expecting more, and that does indeed. Crisp aim on him this morning, it seems like. And he's finding some nice handy frags, and here comes Azer's turn. 2 ones for him, and the last one staying alive. There's somebody 2 HP mode down right now. Azer has no chill, and there you go, 3-0. But a gun round, it's headway start here right now.
Yeah, so this will be where things start to get tested. And again, TyLoo team loves to be very fast-paced, especially really fast mid-control. They love to get into mid-control quickly. They don't like to linger around mid very long, though. Once they have it, they love to just work into some type of site split, you know, heavy connector stuff or, you know, heavy stuff up catwalk to split B. So they're very decisive and, like I said, very fast-paced. And it looks like this is going to be no exception to that rule. We see all 5 players coming top middle, no presence anywhere else in the map. This is a huge commitment to just doing something heavy up cat or connector.
And once they have this real estate, they can also split up and do some crazy strats or even do standard executes. But as long as they've got mid, they've got a good start against Renegades, and they know this. This is why they're going so hot and heavy. They've used up some utility in there in that battle there. But, ooh, this is a little bit of a backstab there.
It's a big pickup.
Comes in handy indeed. Yustilo's frag was actually very, very important right now for TyLoo, who won't be seeing any kind of action from any other angles except for Nifty. He's got a bit of a gap through the smoke. Takes down somebody, brings it back into a 4v4, and now hopes to make it out alive. Menta's not going to be watching his angle there, and neither will his teammates. So yes, Nifty's safe for the moment. But still, on a 4v4, you'd rather favor TyLoo.
Yeah, the 4v4 usually does favor Terrace, depending on how the defense is split up. Right now, it looks like we're seeing a little bit of probing going on by TyLoo in the B apartments, probably just trying to throw some attention. It looked like they wanted to shift this bomb to the A side. It's still sitting in T-spawn. That's exactly going to be the case. So DD probably going to try to throw a little bit of a fake. Maybe he's going to come underpass late, try to cut off rotates, backstab connector. But the focus is definitely going to be on the A bomb site here as we have Mo in a Palace, a couple coming into the ramp. But JKS is playing a forward position. So if he can shut him down, that could be great news. But if he goes out, you know, the rotate's still a little bit off from the A-bomb site. In fact, it's getting pulled even more. JKS has a lot of responsibility on his own.
There you go, JKS left a lot on the A side there. His teammate is coming in, but it's a bit too far. He's going to have to hold his own. He doesn't. Captain Mo spots him, takes him down. It's going to be Azard that will peek in a bit too fast there and takes down Mo. This is a good return. It's a 3v3 situation. Bentet as well with low HP.
Lose on time now.
But with 4 seconds left, there's not going to be a bomb plan possible, and there's about the end of the round there. Last one, making it out alive, DD. Well, you can tap away there, but it's a bit too late for that now.
Yeah, the biggest problem there is like TyLoo did well to get JKS down pretty early, and so that gave him a good chance with a man advantage to get the bomb down and win. But they did kill a lot of clock, so if any one thing went wrong, they weren't going to have time to rebuttal. And you could see what really happened there was Azar, I think, was in CT spawn just faster than they expected. I think they were hoping that DD's pressure on B would really kind of prevent someone from being there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they were just wrong. Like, Azar was in CT spawn pretty quick, was able to get a kill and stop the plant from going off. So that was big stuff from Renegades. They're now up 4-0. We still have a purchase out of TyLoo, though.
Yeah, they're making it work with what they've got. They got 2 UMPs and a scout. They're not too bad, considering they haven't won a single round so far into the game. But alas, they should be probably doing that pretty fast. They've dinked down the economy. Renegades, it is not perfect by far, of course. However, it's time for TyLoo to step this one up. And it looks like once again they've gone for that mid-control, and they have it granted. But no chance of getting on the A side while JKS is still alive, and DD's got to be the first one to fall down for TyLoo here. While his teammates set up for the same side execute, this should be interesting to watch here.
Yeah, it feels like TyLoo got a little bit disjointed there in their mid-control. They lost a player, and then they just kind of sent one guy out A-ramp, and it just didn't really work out, did it? So now they'll gather up together. They have 2 smokes to work with, maybe for stairs and jungle. And then they have a few flashes to come over with as well. But it's just going to come down to whether or not win their duels. It looks like it's just going to be actually jungle and CT spawn, nothing for stairs. But Ustillo, he's lurking under the balcony. This could be big.
Here we go, push starting now. It's going to be Ustillo that finds the first strike. They're going for the second, does not connect there perfectly. Bented has the response, not for too long though. Nifty brings him down. 2v4 situation. The HP on the T side is far from perfect. They're trying to stick themselves alive there, but Nifty gets taken down by somebody. 2v3 now. Rifles remaining on the CT side, and they're doing some good work there. JKS with good frag there. Mo with a scout in his hands. You wouldn't think he's too long for this world, especially considering he does not have access to the bomb, but that does not matter anymore. One more round for Renegades, and they're off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, they're ripping through TyLoo right now. This is the best we've seen Renegades throughout this entire tournament. They really had their struggles in the group stages. You know, obviously they got blasted by Flash on Cobblestone. It wasn't even competitive, and they even struggled against Signature to make it out of the group. There was almost a moment there where you felt like they might just get eliminated in the group stage, so they've definitely had a rougher time. And then their IM Sydney land debuts also didn't go so well. So there's a lot stacked up against Renegades, but yet they're off to a great start here. They've handled things very well. They've been playing great as a unit. They're rotating well. They're playing off of each other well. They seem to be all on the same page, and that's great news for them as we see TyLoo now onto a fairly low buy of Tech9's CZ, Deagle, a little bit of armor pit thrown in there, just a few flashes. Looks like we're just going to try to see them explode and waterfall out the B apartments. But there's a double balcony set up here from Renegades, and so this could be tricky to get through.
Not going to be too easy indeed, and not TyLoo have to wait for that smoke to wither down. As Azar's going to be holding on to a bit of an aggressive angle. He's going to be able to peek in nice and handily in there. Here we go. Re-smoke. Now it's going to be TyLoo getting a bit impatient, thinking about pushing through the smoke. That might just not be a great idea, as Azar will be able to come out as soon as Nexa gives him the call to. Holding on to a close angle there. The 2 lads going to be faced up against 5 of the T's. And a great start for somebody, but he does not expect the second one in there. However, DD gets the refrag, and now the B side has been opened up. One player quickly rotates into Kitchens. That's going to be Nifty alongside with one of his teammates, actually. 2 CTs now trying to stop the bomb from being planted. He still is going to be going in aggressive, and there you go. Unexpected positioning from him, but he's going to be falling down, not connecting shots with Captain Mo. Too fast for him. 2v3 situation. All of a sudden, TyLoo have the man advantage. This is an unexpected round for them. The bomb being planted, they need to make something happen now.
Looks like the elect is to save. I mean, they don't really have a lot of HP on Nifty to push through. They have only that one flash.
Look at this, perfect.
Yeah, I mean, they had a couple of kits, but again, man disadvantage, low HP on Nifty, not much utility. Retaking B, very difficult to do. One of the hardest sites to retake in the game, I think. So it's understandable they want to just kind of fade back. Just a good force buy there from TyLoo. I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to somebody just kind of cracking the site open with that one deke. That was pretty great stuff.
That was sick, wasn't it?
That did kind of stink. He just pulled his knife out and just threw his life away right afterwards, though. But luckily, DD was there to follow it up pretty quickly, make sure that they stayed ahead in the trading game, and then they, were able to take the round. So that's first point on the board for TyLoo. Obviously, they need to try to avoid getting their money reset. That would be kind of devastating, but at least they have low money on Renegades. I mean, they've been winning all these rounds, sure, but some of them have come quite close. A lot of rebuying has taken place, so it's not as if they're safe. I mean, if they lose this round, they might be right to saving, or at least a lower buy.
And there you go. They're not too sure what the economy onto Renegades is about now. They're going to be finding out as Benta does find the first frag. He's going to be spotting the rifle on the CT, so now they know that it will be a purchase round.
I tell you what, Renegades has not really been successful on pushing the periphery of the map. Like, we saw them try to flank through B on middle one round. They got caught there into the advantage for TyLoo. Luckily, they still responded and won the round, but they had to do it on hard mode. And then this round, it's a push on Palace, and it gets caught by TyLoo. So these little aggressive plays by Renegades, where they do it in solo efforts, they haven't really panned out.
Yeah, true. They're more of a team player. Well, as well as TyLoo also making their homework and expecting these kinds of pushes from Renegade, especially on a map like Mirage, where they'd feel comfortable, actually. But nonetheless, 1 minute left on the map, and there will be a push towards the A side, it seems like, or perhaps a bit of a fake. There's still contact towards B, maybe just to make a bit of noise for TyLoo.
TyLoo's waiting for Renegades to make a play. They know Renegades are a man behind. Usually in situations like this, you'll see CTs try to make a push, try to gamble, try to play their way back into the round. Right now, their stake is the fact that they're playing pretty aggressive at middle. But now it's going to be the execute from TyLoo. A lot of utility going to be behind this, so it's going to be very difficult. JKS will probably get isolated. His teammate will be jungle, but probably will be smoked off. So
they're trying to bait a fake as well. That's why they're taking their sweet, sweet time. They're hoping that one of the CTs will go towards the B side there as soon as they would hear some noise, but there's nobody there to make that noise. Instead, it's going to be ultis going in towards A. JKS finds one frag, but it's going to be HZ and somebody that returned fire. Nifty as well with a good shot there. Nifty taking an aggressive stance. Now we will not be able to spot the bomb planter, but he does find himself a good molly. A bit too late, alas, but still burns down HZ. So the bomb is down 2v2 right now, but up on both of the teams and a rifle. Captain Mo, good angle onto him, but none of the players will be peeking him from there. He needs to change position now. With that smoke, that's going to be very, very bad for the T's right now. They do have a molly, though. Captain Mo has that at hand, and there go Nifty's sweet op shot there. One net him a good frag, but still a 1v1 situation. Opera versus Zopper, and Nifty pulls out the USP and finds the frag. Renegades are on top of their game right now.
Big round by Nifty. He played that so well. Gets a quad kill on the round.
It's a
great individual effort, but also just good teamwork. Just the decision making to put the Molotov down on the bomb planter. Putting the smoke on A ramp, playing out the 2v2 very well. They're doing great in clutch situations, so props to them for that. I think TyLoo kind of burned themselves a little bit there because they had the utility to smoke off top stairs and jungle and really isolate JKS in the site, but instead they left all that open, so Nifty was able to get an op shot from Cat through connector. I mean, you're not really using your utility properly at that point to ensure that you don't have to worry about getting picked apart by the rotation right away. So maybe they were just trying to save their utility for post-plant. Not really
they
sure,
didn't have
but
plenty of it. Of course, it was the best buy that they could make out of it.
Yeah, so it's a little bit unfortunate for them then that they just kind of got caught by rotations. But now they're just going to be on the Tech 9 by. We see Ustillo this time the aggression going well for him at middle.
Finally pays off by Ustillo, and then again Nifty comes in with the double frag himself. He's got one more T to watch out for, and he does know that there might be somebody there. DD is indeed in a very difficult spot. He might just get the frag if he peeks out at the right time, but look at this one. Nifty holds on to his passive angle for peeking, so he's not going to be spotted soon. Oh, check this without nice shot from DD. It's a dual frag. All of a sudden there, he gets a duel out of nothing. With that smoke, though, he will be able to crawl back into it through it, actually, and Nifty's got the right idea. He's going to be taking the shot, whiffing it. DD now has a lot of clutch to play. It's going to be an ace with the Tech 9. That would be absolutely insane. He gets spotted now in the jungle.
Yeah, the problem here is the bomb is just down in the
this.
worst spot.
He's got 40 seconds to work with here. He could rotate all the way towards the B side there if he would so choose.
It just doesn't matter with the bomb down.
Nifty's game says is absolutely on point. Has been absolutely on point so far. Holding on to a very good angle there, but will not be able to spot DD. Finally, DD returns to his darkest position that he could ever consider taking, because Azur's going to be there. That's going to be the end of the round. There's 7 rounds for Renegades already. What is TyLoo doing?
Yeah, they haven't had that many full buy rounds for one. That round, like I said, the bomb just was down in a horrible spot. There's really nothing DD can do in that 1 versus 3 when the bomb's down back catwall like that and Renegades control middle. Also, they missed their smoke window room here, it feels like. So Nifty just had free reign to peek mid with the AWP. That obviously hurts. TyLoo just don't look themselves right now. They're not really playing as sharp as usual. Meanwhile, Renegades are super on point. Again, this is the sharpest they've looked all tournament and probably the sharpest map they've had in an offline setting since the spots come together. So really impressed by their stuff. As we are going to see, again, you still looking to get aggressive here on A ramp.
Doesn't look good. He will have his teammate flashing him outside. Hopefully. Nope, he goes in dry, actually. And this might end up hurting them. No, it doesn't. Get the frag, then they get the heck out of there. And then they peek back into it. So it was a good trade, 2-4-1. Renegades are going to be very happy with this now. The bomb in the control of them for just a second as Ustilla falls down. Turns back into a 3v3. Now, 1 minute and 15 seconds left. The bomb could be rotated towards the B side, but there's still contact in there to be found. And as it rotates now with the teammate close in, Nex is going to be making his way towards the A side. Well, not really, but he's still going to hold on to a short angle there, which means that apartments has been opened up. If TyLoo would only know.
Yeah, Bentek gets a key kill there. Like, I mean, Renegades did so well on trading through A ramp up until Bentek gets that kill to get it back into a 3-on-3. Now Renegades obviously stretched a bit thin on their defense. And this means that TyLoo still has a great chance after a sloppy start to maybe still get this round going as they're looking to attack up Catwalk. And Nexa, he's alone over here. He's going to get a rotate right now into market by Nifty's AWP. But Nifty also has to worry about middle and supporting his A teammate. So they're stretched thin.
Oh, beautiful shot from somebody. He opens up the B side like it's nobody's business. And now Nifty has a lot of work ahead of him. Two of the T's currently on the side with the third one coming in from short angle there. It's going to be Azur that helps him out through the same position. So it will be quite a heavy entry from Renegades. Not an easy one at all. But they're going to have to try and make this one. Try and find a frag in the earliest of moments. That they don't, it's going to be beat Pentet with a duel. And that ends the round and puts TyLoo up on 2 points, but they still got ways to go here.
Yeah, they do. And that's finally Bentet showing you a little bit of his form. I mean, he's been awfully quiet this game. I think he was maybe 2-8 before that round, so really not playing well for the star caliber player that he's touted to be and he's proven to be and everything else he's played in thus far. But that's the potential he can have sometimes, is bailing your team out of a bad situation. Again, at one point, they were in a 3 versus 4, and then Bentet rattles off a few kills to actually win them the round, and he, you know, obviously shuts down the retake. And now, again, Renegades have had a dominant scoreboard here, but a lot of these rounds have come close, and so it catches up to them right away that they've lost a round because they are immediately forced to take a full save. And this is where TyLoo might be able to find a little bit of breathing room here to put one more through, try to start inching up closer on the scoreboard a bit before Renegades can get a buy back in. So we'll just have to wait and see. There's still some danger lurking out there. I mean, as it does have a CZ armor up close and underpass, so that can be difficult to deal with. And there is that Deagle sitting out there on Nexus, so there's a couple of tools here for Renegades to work with. But you'd like to fancy TyLoo's chances. That's a great start to get one of the armored players down already.
However, Azur has spotted the bomb carrier, and this might be something that TyLoo are waiting on. And there you go, the rotation's going to come in there. A bit of a noise made towards the B side there with the smoke dropped in and one player left for Anchor. And now the T's with the bomb dropped with 48 seconds left. They still have to make some sort of a real estate towards their advantage. They don't have too much to work with here right now, and they are rotating towards the A side. But alas, they're not going to be faced with too much firepower. JKS is going to be there with one of his teammates in Palace. This might be a good surprise, though, from Renegades. Though Ustilla speaking in. He knows that somebody is in Palace. He tries to fire away, but Captain Mo's got the angle on him. Oh, but look at this. Nexa and JKS do find 2 frags. It is a 3v3 situation, and Nexa does have armor to work with here. JKS, though, falls, and so does Nexa. Nifty now. P250 in hand with the bomb dropped. He might just go for a bit of a hero play, but he's been spotted. So Mo takes him down, no problem whatsoever, and TyLoo win this one. But it got a bit too dangerous there at a certain moment.
Yeah, I mean, definitely didn't expect JKS to pull off a USP frag from CT spawn like that. Obviously, the Deagle from Nexa, I mean, sometimes the Deagle can be dangerous. So maybe you expect him that maybe he can find something. But yeah, JKS getting that one kill certainly kind of got things a little bit scary. But TyLoo, they still handle it pretty well. They only lose 2 players in the end, so not too shabby. But they're going to be back up against a fully stacked Renegades now, including Nifty with the AWP. Only Ustillo is a little bit lacking. He, sacrifices an M4 to get more utility, gets the UMP instead. And we're going to see TyLoo looking to do something heavy-handed at A right away, picking up the page, Hurricane already through, taking out JKS. I guess he's back to HZ now.
There you go. He does start the round off with 2 beautiful frags. Opens up the A side like it's nobody's business. Now, Azur left in an uncomfortable spot. He does have a T to work with here, and some more on the A side. His teammate Nifty will come in for a bit of a help, but there's not too much to be granted now for Renegades. They know they've lost the round. All they need to make sure is that they keep that op alive, and it's got to be Azur. Go a little bit aggressive there, trying to stay or try to keep his teammate away from any gunfire, but Nifty now is alone. He's been hurt and he's been spotted. Indeed, he's got to take him down. 7-4 now. TyLoo making some sort of a comeback, and that was a purchase round that puts Renegades now back into an eco.
Yeah, I mean, TyLoo are really getting back into this half now in a big way, so that's good props to them. Renegades starting to get picked off just a little bit. I think there was just key that TyLoo does a bit of a pacing change. I feel like while their roots are in being very explosive and just doing very aggressive things, a lot of this half, it feels as though they've kind of tried a little bit different take. They've tried to do a little bit slower mid control, and they've worked more into like mid to late round executes. And so that round, they just go for something right off the bat, immediately line up in Palace and A ramp, quickly swarm the A bomb site, get a couple of key entries, don't really allow a rotate to set in. So we're seeing better form out of TyLoo's players individually in duels, and they just seem to be kind of getting better on the same page and accomplishing things.
Yeah, and they've changed up the pace of the game at the exact appropriate moment in time.
Yep.
And now forcing Renegades onto another eco means that they might potentially go for a 7-5. Well, most likely go to a 7-5. And with that in hand, they could switch up the game style again. Renegades are not going to be able to read them as well right now. And with that, TyLoo are on their way to at least 6 rounds so far.
Yeah, they should be able to get this 5th. That shouldn't be the issue. I mean, again, Renegades have done well this game, though. They've had a dominant start. Even if they allow TyLoo to win this round, once they get their buyback in the next round, they could still easily, fire off a couple of more and have a great half here. So not taking anything away from Renegades, it's just TyLoo are finally waking up a bit in this map. On a map they've played this map more than any other map. In fact, you could even maybe, if you did the math, I think they may have played Mirage more than some of the other maps combined. So there's a lot of fluency here from this team, and they're expected to be strong. And now we're starting to see some of that finally as they are just taking some really fast mid control. Yeah, they tried the gamble stack, and now they're going to push through T-spawn.
Yeah, the CT travel is very, very extensive at this moment in time, but they're not going to be spotting anyone. TyLoo just barely making it out there. And they were not checking their back angle there, so they would have been suspected of dying, but still. Now they enter towards the B side there. It's going to be a nice, clean entry. And they do find the opener. Still 3 CTs left, so they will have to be careful there. Azur has a very nice little spot to hide and seek. And Peekaboo comes out for 1 frag there. Somebody does find one, but he's going to have to retreat. He's got 15 HP, so he cannot stay along for too much of the fun there. Though DD returns that fire onto Azur, who has not changed his position. And that did go for his demise. Now JKS has an angle for exit frags, but it doesn't look like he's going to be meeting too much T action.
Shouldn't, unless like something happens towards underpass. But again, this was a round where Renegades didn't really have anything that they could do. I mean, obviously, in that situation, all you can hope for is to just like stack or do a push and just kind of gamble, do something gimmicky, hope that it works out. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. You weren't expecting to win the round anyway. If you did, that'd be great. But this is what really matters, the next round, the round where they do have the money back. They even have enough money if they wanted to go double AWP, and Mirage is certainly a map where double AWP can work. Oh, yeah. But you also have to watch your money long term, and so they may just decide to go for a solo one. But the double AWP could be like the adjustment you make, the wrench you throw in things, the curveball you toss to TyLoo that they have to adjust to, but not going to be the case. In fact, Nifty only glass cannoning this round, so that could be a little bit tricky.
Let's see how it's going to be working out here so far. It looks like Mo has an early angle on towards the A side. But then again, he won't be seeing too much action. And yeah, as you said it, Nifty on a glass cannon. We've seen him pull it off, though, before. Not against TyLoo, however.
Yeah,
a bit of a different kind of league game.
the big thing is aim punch, obviously.
Oh,
you know, if you're holding an angle and you get hit once, I mean, that could certainly throw you off. So that's one of the biggest things. But yeah, with the AWP, you're gonna either kill them in one shot most of the time, or you're gonna miss. So I mean, in that sense, I guess having glass cannon with an AWP definitely better off than glass cannon with a rifle of some sort. As we are seeing again, TyLoo looking to really go heavy-handed on A pretty early in the round, and they're doing so naked. They're not doing anything to even give off that they're up A ramp right now. So no information really being gained by Renegades. It's just JKS holding this angle. Does have a couple players in connector, though, who can quickly rotate. So he won't, necessarily be isolated unless smokes come up on jungle stairs.
I love that little bit of a peek there from TyLoo. They weren't even banking on an element of surprise. They just wanted to make sure that they have half the site's visibility, and then they decide to back off. An interesting kind of play from them. But this is one that's not going to work out very good, because look at this. It's got to be 4 CTs gathered up on towards the A side, and they can actually go aggressive. There's no need to wait for a retake. They could just go start things up, but DDR, it's a good opener there. It's going to be Azure. That will take down the bomber with his teammates' help. And now Azure with a nice flying hit shot there. Beautiful stuff from him. And he does defend the site like an absolute legend, but still, he will be falling down. And Bentet, good refrags from him. And here comes that armor punch that we were dreading, but Nifty does not wait for too long. Takes his shot, connects, and another round for Renegades.
I was wondering when we were going to see this tactic. TyLoo has a lot of these, by the way. This won't be the only one you see if you see them play Mirage a bit more, depending on what decisions they make. They have so many different variations on how they like to smoke wall on the A bomb sites, as well as how they throw in Molotovs under balcony in different angles that smokes aren't covering, to just really make sure that they get a firm grasp of the site and allow rotates to not really have an impact. But I have to say, Renegades handled it super well. So
With
props
what they
to
were
them.
given,
That's
yeah.
not easy to defend.
Oh, true. Good point. Here comes a bit of an aggression from him, though. Oh, look at this. Nifty gets legged. Actually, he still doesn't have armor because he dropped, I believe he might have dropped 2 UMPs to his teammates. But did not buy the armor. Of course, he was the only player left alive for the previous round. They're not too sure what happened, but then again, I don't think Renegades are too sure what's happening now, because there's just 3 of them left alive. In a 3v4 situation with not a lot of utility to work with either. And still 1 minute and 15 seconds left. They might just need to make a play for information. And look at this. It's got to be Azure that does just that.
He needs to find both these kills. Not a single one. Yeah, that's not going to do it.
Yeah.
They were already down 3-4 after a chaotic start to the round. TyLoo came out ahead, and now they're even more ahead
But
after
they got
that
a glimmer
pickup.
of hope. They got a glimmer of hope because the push will be towards the B side. And right now, Renegades have the defensive angles. They're already in there. They're already set up to find some good shots, and that they don't. It's going to be a cleanup from TyLoo, and 6 rounds for them. And with the last round here from Renegades on a very, very bad economy, it might just well be an 8-7.
Yeah, and that would be huge, right? At one point, these guys were down 7-1, and now they've won the last 4 or 5 rounds in a row. They lead the last 5 rounds in a row. And so they could make it 6 in a row with this one, and it's definitely a possibility given the fact that Renegades don't have much to work with. So what a recovery from TyLoo, making those adjustments, digging into their playbook, pulling out one of those, some of the more, faster pace executes they're known for, and making a couple of them work, as well as just being able to, get their aim back, right? Just get a little bit better form out of their players, start winning some duels. Renegades had a great start, but they've kind of slowed down now, and HZ already putting one through in this round to help TyLoo along to try to make this half as close as possible.
And that it might just go indeed, because Renegades right now don't have almost any utility left, and with Nexa out of the way as well. 3v5 situation, no HP loss on the D side until now, but still, that's at the cost of 2 CTs. JKS is the last one staying alive. 1v5 situation. Bit hard to believe that he'd be able to clutch this with a CZ in his hands, and there you go. HZ makes quick work of it, and it's going to be 8-7 for the first half. TyLoo are back into the game. It's good to see him back here. Good morning, TyLoo.
Yeah, they were all slow to start, and now look at that frag distribution on the scoreboard. Everyone, between 11 and 9 kills. They're all about neutral, except for Bentet, who's, I guess, -1. So that's great, because they were all only sitting at just a handful of frags earlier on. So they all kind of started to step up and get firing on all cylinders, which has been kind of a trademark of TyLoo throughout the tournament thus far. Yeah, sure, Bentet's been kind of the star, the flashy one, but the other guys have really played a good tournament. And it's great to see the recovery from them. For Renegades, it's great to see them look sharper, like to kick things off. Like they didn't have a slow start. They started off very well. They, like I said, this is some of the sharpest CS I've seen them play in this minor thus far, especially with some of their struggles against Signature and obviously getting wrecked by Flash. But unfortunately, they just couldn't keep that up, right? You know, when it came to the mid-half adjustments going on, TyLoo got a little bit ahead of the curve there, and were able to, you know, get things very close. And with that said, this pistol will just kind of see who has a little bit of momentum going deep into the half. It's going to be a big A hit from Renegades, but there could be a flank coming in very soon.
There we go. Captain Mo misses a few of his shots there. He's going to readjust his position and then peek out again, but still not connecting. In the meantime, though, Z's have gone deep inside the A site. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Captain Mo dares to peek in without waiting for his teammates, and he finds the frags. Good shots from him. A's a return, though. One from his own team there, and it's going to be Captain Mo trying to go for the third one. Not connecting just yet, but the advantage is clearly now in the side of TyLoo, as they are in a 3v1 situation. Azar, the only one left alive there, he's going to be falling down at the hands of Bentet. And that's the end of the round there. TyLoo with an important one to keep themselves into the game there.
Yeah, they tie it right back up. This is the first tie we've had all game. It's been mostly Renegades. And even with TyLoo coming back, they remained that one round ahead, but now that's been erased. Now, with Renegades getting this bomb plant, though, they have their options open to them. Do you want to go for a very powerful force buy right here? You know, where you get armor, upgraded pistol, maybe even have a guy with a UMP, and you really go heavy-handed here and now, which is what a lot of teams will do second round.
They will,
especially if there's no bomb plant. But since they got the bomb plant,
the Asians.
Yeah, but since they got a bomb plant, their option now is to just really save up this round and make sure they get a full AK buy in the next. And so you may still see some P250s out here and there, but making sure you still save your money for the AK buy next round. And I think that's the route Renegades will choose.
Well, considering the scoreline is 8-8, there's absolutely no reason to try and go for that force buy. Renegades have that bit of a lead, that bit of a time to come back into the game in the latter round there, right after this one, when they will be able to afford a purchase. So all in all, it's not too bad, all things considered. Now, just a P250 on Renegade side. They're going to be playing slightly towards the B side. It looks like where the bomb is heading out, but they're taking some mid action as well. This might just end up being dangerous to them, because look at this. There's 4 rifles right now in TyLoo's hands. They're not playing any kinds of
They know the
games
AKs are coming, so that's why they wanted to go straight to M4s on most of their players.
But they're also banking on the fact that they're going to be surviving into this round.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty confident move from TyLoo. If they're going to be losing any members in this round, their economy is going to have to suffer big time.
Yeah. Again, I think it's just a read from TyLoo that they figured, okay, they're saving this round. They want AKs next round, so let's make sure we have rifles right away for that.
Somebody will be missing out on a lot of action there, as it looks like Renegades are going to be getting free access towards the B site. All of the CTs now gone. They're going to have to play for the retake now. Look at this. JKS goes for a bit of an advanced position. He does have a Glock, however, in his hands. And there you go. TyLoo, good morning. You've been caught off guard. Duped a little bit there by Renegades.
That's a bit of an over-rotation.
Yeah,
I mean, they'll probably still win the round, but it stinks to give up another bomb plant when you probably didn't need to, and you're up against mostly just Glocks. I mean, this is kind of funny what JKS is doing, but it's not going to amount to much, I imagine. He's kind of just like a fly, like, you know, buzzing around your head, being annoying. And the moment you notice where it is, you're just going to kind of smack it down. That's what happens. So 9-8. But again, that is a little bit tough on TyLoo to concede a bomb plant again to Renegades when they had nothing in the round.
Well, they had a P250. So
yeah, I mean, that hurts a little bit, because that just gets a little bit more buying power for Renegades here in the third round.
They're going to be able to go for the op, and I think Nifty just did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. 98, however, TyLoo were going to have to keep themselves alive for this round. So you can see their economy is flourishing at this moment in time. Even if they would lose this one, they'll be able to purchase into the next one. They're Nifty once again with the glass cannon. This time, he's on the T side. It's a bit more dangerous for him now.
Yeah, again, aim punch can always be a factor here. Aggression from Renegades and underpass. And we're going to see a 2-on-2 skirmish right down here. It's going to be trade back and forth thus far, but Captain Mo tilt it in TyLoo's favor.
3v4 situation. Early action there. We'll see TyLoo on a man advantage, and they're going to be very happy with that. Still, the Opto and Nifty's hands might prove to be a bit dangerous, but now TyLoo will just have to turtle back, so Nifty might come across with some nice shots, though. JKS, look at this lurk. Just one member on the A side there, and DD is going to have to pull in quite a massive work.
This is going to be tough with people coming connector and above him.
One shot from him, one kill. Now, Nexa returns to fire, and it's going to be a 3v2. Right now, the retake should be able to happen from TyLoo. Unless they mess this one up, though. But Nexa's positioning will be quite handy enough, and it's not going to be checked a corner from somebody there. JKS with a good frag there. Nexa with the double. Easy peasy round for Renegades, and Nexa's positioning is what basically built this round.
Also, the subtle thing that helped win the round for Renegades that we didn't really touch on is that even though they won the exchange and underpass, trading 2 for 1, they can never exit back towards A side because
Safely.
Nifty had the angle with the AWP top middle. So Mo is forced to push into B apartment. So now you have 3 guys on the B. So even though you have a man advantage, 4 versus 3, 3 of your guys are on one
locked.
side of the map.
Yeah.
So that means your one guy is just isolated. That's DD in the A bomb site. And so basically Renegades get a 3-on-1 in A.
Yeah.
And then Nexus holds off the connector rotation. So it's one of those things where you got a man advantage, but you actually got screwed in positioning.
Yeah. On paper, everything looks good, but there you go. Positioning wasn't so great for TyLoo. Indeed, a good round from Renegades. Smart plays coming out of them, and indeed, very, very good positioning. Now, score is equaled up. Purchase coming in from TyLoo. They still have enough for a decent one, I'd say, but not a lot of utility into this round. Just 2 smokes and 3 incendiaries remaining for him. Plenty of flashes, though, so we'll have to see how they choose to play this one out. Still 1 minute and 10 seconds left. They're going to have to drag not a lot through, well, plenty of time, it seems.
This can be a fun boost. Like this is one of those boosts that isn't very common,
No.
and so you don't really look out for it when you're coming through B apartments. So if in fact someone does decide to start poking and prodding over there, definitely could catch someone off guard. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Their only player there nearby is going underpass, and definitely the focus is going to be A, Nifty leading the charge with the AWP. Look to see if anyone's going to be aggressive, if anyone's pushed through, which DD is playing up close, but holding an angle. He's not actively engaging. Maybe a bit of a
Still
bait
though.
setup as CT draws attention for him.
Renegades are going to be checking this angle there, so DD needs to be very, very fast on his ump action. And that's
Somebody
what
on
he's
his team
gonna-
needs to bait.
No, they don't. They don't check the angle, and DD comes out with 2 frags. He still has bullets left, but not HP. Nifty takes him down. 3v4 situation, and now the push towards the east side is ready to start from Renegades, but still it's going to be hasty. Burning down alive, but Azur puts a stop to his misery there, though. Captain Mo, good return. Up shot on from him. 2v3 right now, 14 HP on Mo, so he needs to stay behind as his teammate goes in full aggressive, and somebody in Bentet end the round clearly there. TyLoo, 10 rounds, 3 members left alive. They're going to be happy with this.
Yeah, DD got a lot out of that up-close angle. Props to him for getting 2 kills. He probably should only be able to get 1 here. Again, Renegades, when you're coming up A ramp, you have so much to worry about. You have to worry about stairs. You got to worry about someone peeking either top or below stairs, or CT spawn. Obviously, the boxes in the site. You have so much responsibility and angles to worry about that sometimes you just can't check them all. And so the one time they miss their close corner, they have to pay for it with a round and probably a second one coming up as well. Given that they are on 4 Glocks and no armor, this should be a breeze for TyLoo.
Yes, indeed. And here comes that push towards that A side. It's going to be DDR that will spot one of the Ds. Oh, changed his position at the very last second. Now he's in the stairs. He cannot really utilize.
You're cooking, bro.
There we go.
Little bit of meat on the Barbie right there. It's going to be Eustilos.
There you go. Eustilos going to be the first one to fall down. But there, JKS has a cheeky angle from Palace. Good use of smoke, though, from Renegades. They're going to be able to get at least the bomb plant. But, ooh, HZ's got a nice headshot there onto Nifty, and JKS falls as well. Bentet as well with the duel. That's going to be the end of the round. There are still 3 members making it out alive from TyLoo, but you would have expected a bit more there. JKS's surprise was really, really good there.
Listen, they got a bomb plant with 4 Glocks, so
happy.
whatever. I mean, that's totally fine. I mean, I'll give him that. I mean, Eustilos out there getting served up at Outback Steakhouse while the rest of his teams get inside the bomb site, they get a plant. So, hey, props to them. They got that. I didn't expect them to even get a bomb plant in a situation like that. So, gives them that extra cash. Nifty. He needs to buy. I don't know. I think he's deciding whether he wants to go glass cannon and get utility, or if he's going to buy armor. Wait a second.
What?
Does he do neither?
This is
Wait. What's going on here?
They
Pause,
seem
okay.
to be still on the site.
Technical pause, I think, coming up
I believe
here.
so. There's 2 of the Ds
Yeah, this is
not moving on T-spawn, so this might be the moment where Renegades... well, we haven't seen these very often from Renegades, these pauses. So, yeah, it might be a moment where they take a little bit of a timeout to sort out, iron out their issues.
Yeah, this is going to be a technical pause. So this round will get restarted at 9:11.
First time I see this.
Our luck casting together on getting through maps has been a little bit rough.
Oh lordy.
So it's been pretty smooth though. It's been pretty smooth. Hopefully this will get sorted out soon. Again, I was definitely concerned because I saw Nifty sitting there with still 650 in the bank, and he hadn't made a decision on utility or buying armor. And then I thought he was just going to leave spawn with neither, and I was like, that would be a huge oversight. But definitely just a technical pause coming in.
Yeah, he would have definitely had the 650 needed. Now, hopefully this issue will be sorted out soon, and with the round restart. Renegades are looking good, though, here so far. They're really, really looking good. TyLoo, though, did have a bit of a slow start, but seeing them back into the game, it might just net them the first one. And if they get this one, they might be going in with a very good chance of cash as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, this was a great start from Renegades. They were up 7-1. The problem is that they kind of let up a little bit. I mean, they've only won 2 rounds as opposed to TyLoo, who have now put up 10 to those 2 in the last 12 rounds played. So that's kind of what you're thinking about here is like the resurgence of TyLoo, them getting their act together, starting to put rounds through. While Renegades have started to slow down a little bit. They've still done well though. I mean, again, they won that 1 round. They were a man behind. I think that was round number 3 of this half, where they had that underpass push from TyLoo, where they won that fight, but Nifty was able to hold middle with the op, so Mo couldn't get back, and then they isolated the guy on a site. That was good decision-making, good mid-round calling there from Renegades. So, again, you can tell that their prowess is there. Tactically, they're pretty on point. They're playing well together as a team. The team works there. It's just they've started to lose out on some of the key duels lately, and TyLoo are starting to get their act together as a team, whereas I felt they were a bit sloppy to start. So that's kind of the storylines intertwining right now, but it's still a very close game, and both teams are stepping up to the plate here lately.
That's some really good CSGO, it seems. And we're not too sure if there we go. We are sure indeed. Round has been reset. The purchase will be remade, and Nifty should be able to buy his armor.
Yep, there it is.
And there we go. Finally, Nifty, what is this, the 4th round? The 3rd round, I believe, where he does have an op, and now finally armor. Let's see how he's going to be able to put that to good use. Bit of a molly early on, and there you go. That armor will be helping him out, but not too much there. 68 HP on him. And a nice little quick action from Ustilo over there on mid. 2 frags for him. Good early start. It's going to be seeing TyLoo in a very, very bad spot, but DDR responds well with a triple of his own. Fantastic shot from him. And now JKS, the only one remaining, will be taken down by Captain Mo. What a fast-paced round. Now, this is a wild, wild west, my friend.
It's just individual efforts on that round. Ustilo makes a fantastic play in middle. Great work, Ustilo. Props to you. But then DD just lines up the hat trick on A-ramp. Renegades cannot get up A-ramp. With Ustilo making a play like that, you have a 5-on-3. You've got to trade into that A-bomb side a little bit better. Ustilo does great work to come up connector. He cuts off all the rotates. Now you just got to work as a 5-man unit. I almost wonder if maybe after Ustilo gets those 2 picks, they should have slowed it down a little bit. And so they tried to just really commit and be decisive. And it is, which is good. You don't want to be hesitant and just kind of stew on it. They wanted to follow up on that as quick as possible. It's just DD makes a heads-up play. I think that's more of just an insane individual effort from DD as opposed to Renegades dropping the ball. You can kind of take it either way, I guess, but I just like to give credit, be more positive. Just give the credit to TyLoo for making a good play as opposed to hampering down on Renegades. And now it's double op for TyLoo, low buy for Renegades.
There we go. And they're going to be playing for contact for his B side there. Not seeing too much action so far, it seems. Molly dropped onto B apartments, and somebody's got to be holding on to him. Not very favorable angle, and you're working with an eco here. Ooh, he spots all of these, but he keeps on his position, not connecting his shots, but Bentet luckily is there to help him out. Although his teammate dies, Bentet is still there with the USB fighting frags, though Nifty finally puts a stop to it. But now Nifty has an op to work with here, and his shots do connect. 1 frag for him, and that's going to be it. Hey, Zed is going to be taking him down, and next, and now the last one staying alive with the bomb not planted. And it's going to be round over for TyLoo.
I'll tell you what.
2 players make it out alive from that round.
TyLoo better be thanking HZ big time, dude. Patting him on the back because he just bailed them out of that round.
Oh, yeah.
They missed so many op shots on B apartments to give Renegades all the room in the world to get out of there with those pistols and swarm them. Bentet did pretty good as well to get a couple of kills. Props to him. He made a plays. He's up there at 20 kills. Rest of the team is not too far behind. Again, tight frag distribution's been kind of the consistent thing for TyLoo, which is great to be firing on all cylinders. But, yeah, that got a little bit dicey when those op shots missed. But luckily, HZ gets a couple of key kills to finish that one off. And now it's 13-9. TyLoo building up a pretty good lead. But Renegades still able to buy here. They're looking for mid-control and some type of A split, it seems, based on the fact that they already have 3 towards A, including the bomb carrier. So they definitely want to split this out.
And a lot of utility used in the process there by Renegades. They do get this control, but in doing so, they're going to hurt themselves with a plant or post-plant position. Though Captain Mo swings and hits. You're still the first one to fall. And now 2 of the teams making it out through Palace. They're shifting through the smoke. Are going to be taken down. Well, one of them will. Though next returns with a duel of his own. 78 HP, and he's got plenty left in his fuel tank right now to keep on going. Gets a fast bomb plant here. 2v3 situation. Right now, the T's should be fine. With 3 flashes, they can keep TyLoo at bay for a few more seconds, but somebody, nice connection there. JKS steps into his aim. Next to left alone to defend in a 1v3 situation. Does connect with the first one, but can't do more than that. And that's going to be round over. TyLoo getting so close to the first map. Renegades need to make something happen now.
Again, I mean, Renegades has only won 2 rounds in the last 13 played. So, I mean, the domination from TyLoo once they got their act together has definitely been apparent. Great work by Mo here early in the round with the AWP, being able to shift from connector to palace like this. They also had like a nasty bait setup in connector going on. Doesn't really wind up coming into play. You know, Mo could easily just get that kill, pull out, and DD's waiting in the opposite corner to get anyone else coming up connector. So
the time it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't matter. I mean, Mo just, you know, got that second kill palace. You saw TyLoo handle the man advantage well throughout the rest of the round. And so, you know, they're up 14-9. They're just a couple away from securing the map. Renegades still able to get the buy going, though. They're, you know, they're approaching max loss bonus at this point. So, you know, being able to get buys is not really the issue, but you got to start winning rounds because they've lost the last, what, 5 in a row in this half. So they're running out of room.
Some early utility being used towards the B apartments area there. It's not going to net them anything, but still, it will keep Renegades at bay. Renegades are very happy to wait this one out, though. They're very, very happy to keep TyLoo using their utility so that they can push a bit late around there. But Nifty connects the shot with somebody, and then he has one shot connected on him as well.
You feel like he got robbed there. Like, I thought he had that one dead to rights.
I thought that was a
They both exchange shots through the wall, and so they both take a good amount of damage, but no deaths just yet.
Well, it's going to be pretty soon. 56 seconds left, and now the push towards the B side should be starting soon. Deep smoke onto B apartments. We'll see Renegades put a pause into their pursuit. But still, 2 CTs going to be in there. Somebody now with low HP, and this is a site that would be better attacked right now by Renegades, and they know this. They know they caused a bit of damage, so they're going to be using that. And also the lack of utility. Find anyone soon, but somebody's got a good angle there. He misses his shot. No, Benta doesn't. Good connection from him, but JKS brings him down. And Ustilo's back angle there is going to net him a frag, and that's an important one. As the B side opened up, but still an aggressive play from one of the players coming out from kitchen. Nifty does not expect it. He's going to be burning out alive. HZ did very well to push from where he did. And now Azur is alone in a 1v2 situation. TyLoo's aggressiveness finally pays off here. And it does look like Azur cannot stand a chance. He does have a smoke to work with here, but in this situation, there's not much more that he can do with it. CT's coming in now. Azur spots one of them, and then the second one, but he's going to be taken down by the 5-7 Amon Andres. And there it is. It's going to be map point for TyLoo, 15 against 9.
And then the entry went pretty well for Renegades. When they got up catwalk, they got into the site, they got the first kill. So it was looking pretty good, but I mean, Nifty got stuck between a rock and a hot place, and there was nothing he could do. He burnt to death, and that really kind of gave TyLoo the man advantage to put that one through in the home stretch of the retake situation. So, again, TyLoo continued to dominate ever since they got things kicked off around, I'd say, what, that was like the 9th round of the first half. So they've really just, you know, started putting in the work.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of
screws.
I feel like we've kind of beat that a little bit, but I mean, it is like the main storyline of what's happened here on Mirage. And now the timeout comes in. This is Renegade's last chance. They need to win 6 in a row to force an overtime, or they will concede the first map here in the upper bracket semifinals. Again, a lot on the line here. You know, if you lose this, you got to make that route to the lower bracket, and you know you're only going to get 2nd seed. Or you're going to have a tougher time making it to the final is the point. Whereas you win this, you're already in the final, and you're already like really close to getting that first spot out. So a lot less stress, less matches you have to play, things like that.
There you go, and this is one for the marbles. They're a very important map indeed because Cash, well, that could be anyone's game at this point in time. So Renegades will do better to try and keep the good fight here, even though they're far from winning the first map. They can still put a bit of pressure on TyLoo and make him feel a bit more uncomfortable on the second map incoming. Otherwise, TyLoo are going to be going in with quite a bit of confidence boost, it seems.
Yeah, WWP still out for TyLoo again. Very viable on a map like Mirage. Renegades taking it pretty slow and cautious. They know that this is their last chance. They have to make it count. They're just going to go for the standard 1-3-1 mid control. They're pushing 8Z out connector. Well done. Getting some damage on him as well. So they're making sure they're securing mid. They're doing it carefully.
The rounds they've done it so far have been rounds where they almost made things happen. That's why they're taking that mid control. That's why it's so important to them. And right now they do have it. And with that in mind, they're going to leave a player close to bottom mid, and then they're going to be returning towards the A side. It looks like another A side execute.
There's 3 on A, though, so the rotator has committed to helping defend the A bomb sites. That makes their defense a little bit more stout. You're also already seeing a rotation through market in the CT spawn by TyLoo with one of their players who's going to be watching window room. So TyLoo's getting off a great rotate. They're reading this situation pretty well. Renegade's going to just have to get some great entries.
There you go. Azur's going to be leading that, but he's not going to be finding any frags. That surprises him, but some good shots from JKS and Nexa. 2 frags for the first one and 1 for the second, but BN Tech does return some fire, and that's a good shot. There's somebody as well with a good frag. 2v2 situation now. 2 rifles on the T side. Renegades don't have utility to stop this push from the CT side, but neither do TyLoo. Just 1 flash on Bented, and he's going to have to make that one work. Nifty now on ramp. He's going to be holding on to a passive angle, but with the bomb's positioning, he's not in a very good spot. Still comes down a Ninja, though, finds a good shot, and somebody knows that at this point the game is just as good as lost. Well, the round so far. He's going to be holding on to his up, making sure that he still will be using it for the next one. And well, he's going to be happy to take any T that would dare peek him, but Renegades have an op and an AK and a round win, so why peek at this point?
Yeah, great work there by Renegades. It started off a little bit rough because HE caught the connector push, got the early advantage for TyLoo, but JKS's response out of Palace was massive. He got the impact frags at round 2. He's had a bit of a slower game. I mean, I guess a lot of the guys from Renegades have started to slow down, but that was certainly a big individual effort from JKS out of Palace. Props to him. He keeps his team hanging around. Money is starting to run out on TyLoo is another factor here. They can still get a bye this round, but it includes 2 UMPs. And if they lose this, they're saving. So that could be Renegades putting it up to 12, most likely. So this means that Renegades, aren't too far off of forcing an overtime here. They're starting to slowly creep in. That does hurt, though. Somebody getting the opening pick. Again, instant advantage for TyLoo just like last round. So Renegades are really fighting an uphill battle at this point.
There you go. That's a lot of utility as well that has been thrown away. I don't know, a map like Mirage, you'd like to see as much of it as possible. At least in the pre-planned positioning. At least when you're taking a site there, Captain Mo.
Wow.
6 shot from him. Nifty goes down. 3v5 action now. Not 1 HP lost so far by TyLoo in this battle. But it does look like this just might be their chance to get
They see the bomb as well.
Yep. Next, though, has a good angle there. Interestingly enough, he's not going to be peaked, but GKS. Good entry frag. Unexpected a bit there, and Nexa tries his best at it as well, but HZ's going to be bringing him down. He still comes with a refrag, but now it's still an advantage for TyLoo. Somebody misses his shot, makes his position known, but goes aggressive with it. Ustillo is going to be taken down, and now the last one falls as well. Somebody with the dual kill. Great work out of them, and it's going to be GG for the first map. TyLoo are back at it again. We did not expect this after the first 7 rounds, we must say, Dust.
Yeah, I mean, going into it, you felt like TyLoo had a great chance to win Mirage, but then the way things started to play out early on, Renegades were looking very sharp. They were putting through the rounds. They had a massive lead, but the comeback from TyLoo was even more overwhelming. They only gave up 3 rounds since the 9th round of the first half. So basically, going 14-3 in those last 17 rounds or so. So big time stuff from TyLoo. They really started to wake up, get their act together. Again, firing on all cylinders. When you look at TyLoo, their top fragger, 22 kills, bottom fragger, 17. That's a pretty tight spread of only 5 kills difference between your top and bottom.
They're pulling their weight. They're firing on all cylinders right now.
Indeed. I mean, I couldn't sum it up any better. So, props to TyLoo to take the first map. But we're going to get a little bit in depth with it with our panelist over there. So, Paul, let's see what the analyst got to say.
Indeed we will. Thank you very much, Dust. Yes, and back at the panel once more with Blair and Natu to break down game number 1. Very interesting matchup from both teams. Slightly different look to Renegades, Natu. In the early part of that match, they looked much more assured, good strategies, solid executions. It all fell apart, though.
Yeah, I think partially thanks to TyLoo being a little sloppy as well. They went on the bomb sides without checking corners. They missed out on guys in shadow, for example, a couple of times when they did an A execute. They even Molotoved it once, still not checking it. Yeah, still lost a member in the attack. So I thought it was a bit of sloppiness there from TyLoo. But then you saw Bented, who started off with 2 and 8 in the first 8 rounds. Yeah. and then started racking up the kills, and that was TyLoo's catalyst to come back into it. Winning the first round they won was a Tech 9 round going into B, but then eventually they started building into the game and starting to get those opening kills, starting to get the numbers advantage and making Renegades make moves, and therefore they had a massive later part of that map.
Yeah, and Blair 7-1 at one point for Renegades. They won 3 of the last 17 rounds. That's got to be hugely disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely. They had a great start, and one thing you noticed as well was, for example, TyLoo went for their infamous smoke wall over an A-bomb side. You saw Renegades have studied them. They know exactly where they're going to be going for the plan. They knew how they're going to be coming out. They were ready for it, which is what we saw in the first 7 rounds. Although, yes, TyLoo did play a little sloppy. Renegades did have a play in mind, like they're going to be playing this way on the T side, and they had a great start, but credit where it's due, TyLoo with some pretty good late mid-half adjustment to kind of switch things up a little bit. And in the end, Renegades just needed way more rounds on the CT side than what they got in the end, because TyLoo CT side is where they're really strong in Mirage, and you can see that when the double op setup gets going, because Captain Mo can op, so can Bentet, and so can somebody getting a triple kill in the end there to close out a round as well. So great start from Renegades. They were ready for TyLoo, at least with whatever little prep time they had, but in the end, TyLoo proving to have too many tricks up the sleeve, so to speak, on Mirage.
Yeah, and Natu, in terms of Renegades, how do they bounce back from that?
I mean, it's going into their map next up, so yeah, they're going to be highly disappointed with the way that game ended up going, considering the start they had, obviously. So it's a mental reset for them right now. You can't really need a best of 3. It's a 3-mapper. Potentially, you have to just think about not think about what happened in Mirage. You just go into a cache with a clear head. That's about it.
Okay, now the Mummy MVP for that particular match is Bentet once more. He's now picked up every single MVP of every match he's played so far. Every map.
Pretty much rightfully so. I mean, like I said, he was the catalyst for TyLoo's comeback into that game, getting them out of dicey situations left, right, and center.
I mean, when you look at those stats, Natu, though, he was 2-8 in the first 8 rounds of this match.
And there's one thing I'd like to point out there, the post-plant holds as well, the retake kills, 7 of them he got. Those are crucial, very crucial kills he got as well. So Bentet once more again. I mean, what more can you say about this guy? He started off very, very slow. It's like you said, 2 killed and 6 or 8 deaths initially. And when he started fragging, that's when TyLoo started winning as well. Although not taking anything away from the rest of the players in TyLoo, I think everyone stepped up when required. DD had some crucial rounds. Captain Mo was hitting some nutty shots as well. Somebody late in the game as well with some clutch play with the op too. So everyone kind of just woke up after that 7-1 scoreline.
Yeah, at half time, when you look at the scoreboard, it said everything really, didn't it? Because they were all very close. I think 9 to 11 kills for all 5 players, and they continued in that vein in the second half. It's always important that everyone's chipping in.
Yeah, it's not sustainable that if you have just one player doing everything. Obviously, you will have people have more impactful kills than others. That's always the way it's going to be. But in the big picture, if everyone is sitting at that 10 to 15 mark, that's when you know that the things you do as a unit are working out pretty well.
Yeah. Definitely worked out well indeed. Why don't we check in with our social media thread? Once again, it is up on Reddit right now, and we'll take a few more questions. Thank you very much, of course, for posting in there. Do keep them coming. We'll try and answer as many as we can, as long as they're not rude. I saw a couple of rude ones in there earlier. Do you think a minor should have 16 teams? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're there almost now, aren't we?
I completely agree, because a couple of teams I really wanted to see at the minor this time were Dreamscape from Singapore and Rekka as well, Bendet's ex-team. Looking at the way they play, looking at the way they've fared in the past few months, they are on paper better than a 764 to a Signature. Signature and 764 did manage to pull off the upset, but to be very honest, I would have loved to see Dreamscape here, because there would have been one team, in my opinion, who would probably have a very good chance of making it to the playoffs at the very least. Yeah. So looking at the number of pretty decent teams who are at kind of the same level right now, I really feel we should expand it.
I don't know what Australia as well. Australia has 3 or 4, 5 teams.
Chiefs, Tainted Minds, Dark-Sided, they all deserve to at least be where Immunity is right now. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of cutthroat. It's hard. It's rough for them, but it would have been a very interesting tournament if we did have 16 teams. So I'm up for it.
There is another argument in here that if it's 16 teams, Natu, that actually what you do is you don't invite more from each country. You widen the countries so that you can have maybe a Middle East qualifier where 2 teams come through from it. You have an Indian qualifier where maybe a team from India can come through, so that you've expanded the region as well as given more teams a chance to come to a minor.
Yeah, I think definitely I would agree. 16 teams would be great from just being a sports romantic person, I mean, it would be great for new storylines, having more teams have the proving rounds. I think it's more a logistic issue, if anything, why we don't have it at this point in time. And a production issue, maybe. It's hard good to have 16-team tournaments leading up to a major, obviously. But yeah, I think from a competitive aspect, simply if you look at it from that standpoint, I do agree. I mean, 16 teams would be great to have. More room for more talent to be showcased.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and experience for them as well, because we talk about the other teams that have been here over the last 2 days, and if they haven't performed very well, they kind of let off in a way because they're like, it's the first time some of these players have ever played on a LAN tournament, let alone come to what is a major competition for them in their region. So it's about experience, and they can't get that experience in any other way right now. This is the way they do it, right, and through a minor. So the more teams that get that, the more often they do it, the better they're going to get and the faster they're going to get better.
You pretty much summed it up. I'm not sure I need to really say anything.
And also,
sorry, I should have thrown that as a question.
and also, I'd like to mention, like, especially in Asia, where it's a massive continent, right? So no matter what you do,
well, it's an extended continent as well. Geographically, it's not correct, right? It's anatomically, geographically wrong. It includes in the Middle East and New Zealand and Australia. They're not in Asia.
And the biggest factor that comes into play is ping. Right, so no matter what happens, even if you have as many servers around the place, like let's talk about India, Middle East, let's talk about Southeast Asia, for example. Some countries just will not ping well. The East Asia qualifiers have Mongolia, who is like somewhere else, and they're gonna have massive ping. They still manage to win the qualifiers, but ping becomes an issue, and because of that, so many teams who might be more deserving. I don't want to use that word, might be more deserving, but they're playing with with a handicap over there. Yeah, more capable. Yeah, so. If you kind of break up the region to the smaller chunks and have more teams coming in, that's a more better level playing field. So you have no more excuses. You get to play against your own people. You wind up at the LAN and prove yourself, right? So,
but I mean, I spent some time in Asia over the last couple of years, and you see CS teams starting to grow in specific countries, and you think, why aren't they competing in this? Malaysia, for instance, has a number of reasonably good CS teams. They're not going to compete on the world stage right now, or even in the top 32. But put them in a minor. See them compete against the Thai teams and the Middle East teams and everything. Who knows where they might finish, because we don't know right now. Same with the Philippines. Same with Japan, for instance. Japan has a couple of reasonably good CS teams out there. Where are they? They're not able to qualify right now because of things like ping restrictions. So I think extending to 16 teams not necessarily means more teams from each country, although it could, but potentially means you bring teams in from a wider region.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question. It was a very good question as well. Let's take one more from the question thread right now. Do you think the loss of Zilkenberg made the Mongols worse?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Next question. It's a very easy question, wasn't it? I mean, even they said themselves in the interview that we saw with them yesterday that they were disappointed they lost him because they felt like he was the best player in Mongolia. Losing him was a real blow for them, even though they pulled a guy back in who's widely considered actually the best player in Mongolia before he left the team. So, had they kept both, would they be in a position where they could qualify from this, do you think?
I think...
Is it that much of a difference?
I mean, I can understand and relate to what Machine Gun did, leaving to the U.S., going to Splice and giving that a go, even though what a freak of a team, if you think about the composition of it.
Yeah.
But I think if they would have stuck together... for a longer time, spent time playing together, I think they could have definitely been up there, still fighting for being in the top 3 of their region. Because individually speaking, I think they still are actually pretty good. They're just they definitely just don't seem to have the strategic approach is perhaps not the most elaborate, and I think they do silly mistakes here and there. So steering them to the right direction, if they would have spent more time with that specific lineup, I think they could have done even better than they did at the time.
And I don't know if you guys know this, but I remember reading or hearing about this on a YouTube podcast where Splice actually, when they asked for Machine Gun, the Mongols owner, he said, why Machine Gun alone? Take Zilk as well. Yeah. Take the pair together. And they're like, nah, I just want Machine Gun over there. But the thing is, the greatest strength that Mongols had back then was the 1-2 combo of Machine and Zilk together. And Zilk is such a cerebral player. He's a much smarter player than the most of the players on the Mongols. And one thing we realize the Mongols are lacking is when it comes to more tactical side of things. And having Zilkenberg really helped them out a little bit. I've spoken to the guy as well. He has a very good mind for Counter-Strike. And I'm not sure what really happened, why he left the team. But yeah, him being here would... I wouldn't say they would have still reached a playoffs, but they would have been looking much more better than they did yesterday.
Would have looked stronger for sure.
Absolutely.
It's interesting to talk about the pair of them because you wonder actually if the pair of them had gone over and then had got each other as buddies in that team in Splice, would that have meant that maybe Machine Gun didn't get homesick, didn't or adapted better to the language and the food and everything else that
at least
supposedly he found difficult? Maybe that's easier.
It could have been easier. At least he has a buddy with him, right? And let's talk about just in Counter-Strike. Like, you could at least have the two of them play a side together. You know, comms a little bit more easier here. But now here, you got a guy who's out of his neck of the woods, and he doesn't know the language that well. And yeah, I really can't blame him. I think it was an experiment which wasn't really that well thought out. And yeah, like, it is what it is.
It was a good idea, though.
That was a good idea. I was happy for him.
Experience point of view, it's great. I mean, his teammates have talked about the fact that he's gone to America. He's come. It was only 4 months, but all his teammates have kind of held him in reverence. Really, the fact that he's been abroad, he's been to a different region, he's played all these great players, and he brings that knowledge back to the team.
I mean, if I think back to my career, obviously I wasn't living in Mongolia, moving to the U.S., but I moved away from Finland to play in a multinational team. Well, you could say British, but
mostly British.
In reality,
mixture of
we
Norwegians and Finns as well. But yes,
so we were all across the world. I thought that was the best decision I ever made. It gave me a lot of perspective, even though we had been successful with Finnish teams, especially with the Destination Skyline for quite a good while. So I felt like I needed something, needed a new spark.
Why did you do that though?
It was just the opportunity. Obviously, we were not salaried at the time in the Finnish teams, and they offered a salary, and then it was all intriguing. I got to know these guys through the tournaments and stuff, and they seemed like a good bunch of guys, and just the challenge, really, wanting to challenge yourself.
Because at that point, you were kind of considered one of the best players in Finland already, and there wasn't much more you could have done, to be fair to them. I don't mean to be rude to them, but on a global scale, there wasn't much further you could have gone, was there?
Yeah, I mean, because with this guy, we had been amongst the top 5 in the world for a good while, and that team kind of broke. And I ended up going to the Finnish Astralis, the original one. And we, the problem with that team was that we never really did well international. We would be wrecking online, we'd wreck in practice, we'd do every international tournament we were just bombing out in groups. So it kind of got tiring at that point, and then getting that offer, it felt like a no-brainer going and finding that new challenge.
And the experiences as well that you picked up along the way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously help a lot with speaking English every day, basically.
But in terms of going back to Finland afterwards, you still played in plenty of other Finnish teams afterwards when you went back. What did it give you, though?
Just a different perspective. The game is thought in very different ways. I thought, Finns were always known for randomness, really fast-paced kind of gameplay, and I thought I maybe brought in a bit of diversity to that, seeing the game from a different perspective, and then just the sheer experience of playing so many international massive tournaments. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that, can you?
No. And you were quite a cerebral player as well back in the day. You were pretty much the thinking man's kind of Counter-Strike player. Someone like BSL, for instance, a very similar kind of guy. Did that help as well with the transition and then going back to Finland? Were you able to kind of put it all together and come up with something much better than you had before?
Yeah, I mean, I was never up until the later parts of my career, I wasn't even an in-game leader. I was usually like the guy helping out with stuff and kind of the glue guy in terms of the social atmosphere within the team. I definitely do think, having been the guy that always thinks of the big picture, however, definitely does help going back in and then, trying to implement all that knowledge into your future teammates within the national teams.
Yeah. Do you think Machine Gun's able to do that for his team? Because he's not the. It didn't strike me as the kind of brain guy. He's got great aim and he runs around and he kills people in the game, but he doesn't come across as maybe the most strategical at times.
And I don't really think he gained much while being there, to be very honest. Playing for Splice, but the team seemed to be just playing with a lot of issues, from get-go, and he was struggling on his own as well, and they really didn't pull off. I don't think they had any great wins or successes with him around, so I don't think he really brought back anything. Maybe at least the comms might have been a little bit better compared to most Asian teams I've seen. They seem to be trying something new though. Like I was speaking to him, he's like, he's very confident about it. But end of the day, I mean, it's been pretty much the same play style I've seen in the past year and a half.
Much, is it? No.
So yeah.
True. All right, okay. We'll talk about this for ages, actually, with both of you. Thank you very much, Natu and Blair. We are ready for game number 2. I'm hearing that the players are all on the server, so let's head back to our commentators for game number 2.
Welcome indeed back to the